Okay, so like everyone loves a good motorcycle, right?
Yeah, for sure.
But especially like those classic American motorcycles.
Right, yeah.
All that history, the rumble, the chrome, you know what I
I
mean?
get it, yeah.
And when it comes to American bikes, there's really just one rivalry that matters, right?
Which one?
Indian versus Harley Davidson. Two titans, born just as the 20th century was getting started. And they both just scream that classic idea of freedom. Open road, wind in your hair, you know the deal.
Yeah, it's iconic, for sure.
But here's what gets me. How has Indian Motorcycle, a brand that's been through the ringer, bankruptcies, revivals, the whole shebang, how are they still here? Not just surviving, but like going head-to-head with Harley.
Well, it's funny you should say that because their story really does kind of track the story of American industry as a whole, you know?
Oh, interesting. Like how...
I mean, we're talking boom and bust cycles, innovation, fierce competition, world events that change everything overnight. It's all there.
Okay, I'm hooked. Take us back to the beginning.
Sure.
When did Indian first hit the scene?
1901.
1901. Get out of here. That's like practically the Stone Age of motorcycles.
Chuckles. Yeah, not quite, but you're not far off.
And to make it crazier, they started up just 2 years before Harley Davidson, right?
2 years, that's it. It's amazing they both came out of the gate around the same time.
Talk about setting the stage for a rivalry.
No kidding. I mean, right from the get-go, they were battling it out, trying to establish dominance in this brand new market.
And then, boom, the world explodes.
Yeah.
World War I. I mean, can you even imagine how much that messed up? Well, everything, but especially motorcycle production.
Oh, absolutely. World War I was a turning point. Huge. A real fork in the road for both companies, actually.
Oh, how so?
It all boiled down to how they handled the war effort. See, Indian, they went all in, patriotic as heck, selling practically every single motorcycle they could make to the U.S. military.
Really? Wow. How many are we talking about here?
Try a staggering 41,000 bikes. 41,000.
That's wild. Talk about supporting the troops.
Yeah, but see, that massive military focus, it came with a cost.
Oh, I bet it did. Explain.
Well, Harley Davidson, they supplied bikes to the military too, yeah.
Right, makes sense.
But here's the difference. Harley made sure to keep their civilian production going too.
Ah, smart.
So they sent about 7,000 bikes to the troops, which is still a lot,
Yeah.
but they kept around 10,000 in the hands of American riders back home.
Ooh, I see where you're going with this.
Right. So when the war finally ended, and everyone was itching for a taste of freedom, guess who was ready to meet that demand?
Harley Davidson.
Exactly. They'd spent the war years setting themselves up to win the peace.
Wow. While Indian was busy winning the war, Harley played the long game.
Exactly. And it worked.
Talk about a strategic power move. So Indian went from being, what, the front runner to suddenly playing catch-up.
It was a blow, for sure. A huge setback. But never underestimate Indian Motorcycle.
Ooh, foreshadowing.
Chuckles a
Yeah.
little bit. But seriously, they had this knack for comebacks, you know, always defying the odds.
Okay, I'm ready for the comeback. Set the scene. What year is it now?
Fast forward to 1930.
The Roaring '20s are over. The Great Depression is looming.
Yep. And a new player enters the picture. E. Paul DuPont.
Yeah,
Great.
the DuPont, like the chemical empire DuPont.
The one and only.
What's he doing dabbling in the motorcycle world? Seems a little out of his lane.
Chuckles, maybe. But here's the thing, DuPont, he saw potential in Indian, even with that World War I setback hanging over them.
Interesting. So even back then, Indian had this, like, mystique.
Totally. And DuPont, he wasn't just there to tinker around the edges. Under his leadership, Indian really started pushing boundaries.
How so?
I mean, they were still making motorcycles, of course, but check this out. They were also producing aircraft engines.
Whoa, seriously?
Yeah, bicycles.
Okay, bit more traditional.
Even air conditioners.
Air conditioners. Now that's what I call diversification.
Right. They were determined to innovate, to be more than just a motorcycle company.
Thinking outside the sidecar, as they say.
Exactly. And you know what? It worked. By 1940, they were practically neck and neck with Harley Davidson in terms of sales.
Get out of here. That's a heck of a comeback story.
It was. But then, as we all know, the world had other plans. World War II.
Round two. Here we go again.
Right. And while both companies played a big role in the war effort, again, the real story? Well, it comes after the fighting is done.
So everyone's expecting this post-war motorcycle bloom.
Right.
But it's like 1953 hits.
Yeah.
And Indian just stops.
Yeah.
No more motorcycles.
It's true.
What the heck have it? It's like make it or break it time, right?
It really was a tough period.
Yeah.
The whole motorcycle industry kind of struggled after the war ended.
Ah, so it wasn't just an Indian thing.
No, not at all. A lot of factors.
Yeah.
But Indian, yeah, they seem to have it especially rough.
Man, that's got to be heartbreaking.
Yeah.
You build this legacy, this whole brand,
Absolutely.
and then bam, it's gone.
It's true, but
But it can't be the end of the story, can it?
you're right. Definitely not the end.
Okay, phew. Because we're still talking about Indian motorcycles today.
Exactly. And the reason we are is pretty incredible, actually.
Lay it on me. What happened?
Picture this. 1967, Bonneville Salt Flats. Wide open space.
Oh, man. I've seen pictures. It's like nothing but salt as far as you can see.
Exactly. And this guy, Burt Munro.
Burt Munro. The name's familiar.
Oh, he's a legend, especially if you're into motorcycles.
Okay.
So Munro shows up at Bonneville.
Okay.
And he's got this dream, see?
What's the dream?
He wants to set a land speed record.
Old.
Right? And get this, he's not riding some brand new high-tech machine, you know,
Okay, what's he riding?
a modified 1920 Indian Scout.
No way. A 1920. That thing's older than my grandma.
Right.
But that's Monroe for you, fearless.
So what happens? Does he do it?
He does. Monroe, he blasts across that salt flat and smashes the land speed record for the under 1,000cc class.
Get out of here.
And here's the real kicker. That record he set back in '67, it still stands today.
Are you serious? This guy on a nearly 50-year-old motorcycle, still the fastest.
Still the fastest. Nobody's touched it.
That's wild. I bet they got some attention for Indian, right?
Oh, absolutely. I mean, talk about a testament to the quality and craftsmanship, you know.
For sure.
This wasn't some flash-in-the-pan brand. This was a company that built bikes that could last, bikes that could make history.
Okay, but how do you even come back from something like 1953?
It's a long road back, for sure.
Yeah.
But one thing Indian always had going for them, their fans.
Loyal customers.
The most loyal. See, there's something about Indian motorcycles, even when they weren't making bikes, the name still meant something.
Yeah, I can see that. It's like more than just a motorcycle brand, you know?
Exactly. It's heritage, it's Americana, it's that underdog spirit, you know.
Okay, so the fans are there, but how does the company actually make a comeback?
So there are a few attempts to revive the brand.
Okay.
Late 90s, they try releasing some new models, the Scout and the Chief.
Trying to recapture that classic Indian magic. Exactly. But it's tough, you know?
What happened?
Well, they relied on outside engine designs for those models.
So it wasn't a true Indian, if that makes sense.
Exactly. And it just, I don't know, it didn't totally click with people.
Yeah, it's like you can try to recreate something, but it's never quite the same, you know?
You got it. And unfortunately, those efforts weren't enough to put Indian back on solid ground.
Oh, no, don't tell me.
2003. Bankruptcy. Again.
You got to be kidding me. So Indian's down, but they're not out, right?
Nope, not by a long shot. 2006, things start looking up again.
Okay, what changed?
A couple things. They restructured, moved down to North Carolina.
North Carolina. Interesting. Why there?
Well, for one, it put them closer to a lot of motorcycle enthusiasts.
Thanks.
But more importantly, they made a big decision.
Okay, I'm on the edge of my seat. What was it?
They went all in on the cruiser market.
Cruisers. Smart move. I mean, those things were everywhere back then.
Totally. It was a booming market, and Indian, well, they were perfectly positioned to capitalize on that, you know, with their history and all.
Oh, yeah, cruisers really tack into that classic American motorcycle vibe, don't they?
100%. But even with the focus on cruisers, they still needed, you know, a little extra something.
A little extra oomph to really get them back in the game.
Exactly. And that oomph, it came in 2011.
Okay, what happened in 2011?
Polaris Industries. They bought Indian.
Wait, Polaris? As in the snowmobile and ATV company?
Yep, the very same.
Wow, that's unexpected. I mean, I know they had Victory motorcycles, but still, that's a big move.
It was huge. A real game changer, actually. See, Polaris, they saw the potential in India.
I mean, how could you not, right?
Exactly. And they had the resources, the manufacturing muscle, everything India needed to make a real comeback.
So Polaris swoops in, gives Indian that boost they needed.
More than a boost. They gave them stability, a solid foundation.
And that, my friends, is how you resurrect an American legend.
Yeah, Flass. It's a pretty remarkable comeback story when you think about it. I mean, they went toe-to-toe with Harley Davidson, went bankrupt twice.
Right?
And now here they are, back from the brink.
Building some of the coolest bikes on the road, too. Don't forget about that part.
Oh, for sure. They're not messing around. The Scout, the Chieftain, the Roadmaster, they're all amazing machines.
And they're not just resting on their laurels, just churning out the same old design.
Not at all. They're innovating, pushing the boundaries, just like in the old days.
And that, I think, is what makes this whole story so compelling. Indian's not just some relic of the past, some museum piece.
Definitely not.
They're a vital part of the motorcycle world right here. Right on.
Absolutely. And honestly, who knows what the future holds? Can they overtake Harley Davidson? Will we see some crazy new innovations that rock the industry? Only time will tell.
I, for one, excited to see what they come up with next. It's been a wild ride going back through Indian's history.
I'll say.
But hey, that's the beauty of a good comeback story, isn't it? It reminds us that even when things seem impossible, there's always hope.
I like that. I like that a lot.
To everyone listening, we'll leave you with this. What do you think the future holds for Indian motorcycles? Let us know. Until next time, keep the rubber side down.